Where do you want to start?
Well, for me, I'd like to start at, on my site, looking at the project versus warehouse, and make sure I've got the user set up properly and all that stuff.
Okay, so these are your warehouses, right?
Yes, those are those are actually the projects. Remember, we said that we were going to leave them, but those are the names of the projects, not the warehouses.
Yeah, I think we're getting hung up on semantics here. I mean, it's basically a place to store inventory. You could have a project. You also have projects as customers because we have to ship to them. So, you can name them.
How do I switch to the, ship from being the warehouse address, because it shows up as the same address on the pick ticket?
Well, if you want to change the warehouse address, you change it here.
Yeah, but why would you, wait. Fundamentally, I mean, once a warehouse has an address, you wouldn't change it, right?
Right, but these are the addresses for the hotels right now.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so this should be the actual address of the warehouse, right?
So, I mean, whenever you see the pencil icon in our system, that takes you to the record itself where you can make your changes.
I just wanted to, before I did anything, I wanted to make sure if I change that, then I'm changing the ship from address only.
Well, right, because you'd be shipping from the warehouse to the hotel, right?
Yeah.
The hotel is the customer. Or, yeah, the warehouse is named after the hotel, but it's got the physical address of the warehouse. And like Benson said, you're shipping to the customer, which is the physical address of the actual hotel. Right?
Correct.
Benson?
Yeah, correct.
Okay. Just trying to make sure we're all on the same page, because I think I'm confused too.
I just,
when we go
to
order, confused.
When we go to the receiving, it says select warehouse, select ship to. At this point, they're the same, which isn't a problem as long as on the when the report prints out, I guess is the ship from and the ship to are different. So I'm just again curious as to where do I put in if this is where I change the warehouse location address, where do I put in the hotel address?
Under customers.
Right.
Okay.
We're customers.
Couple down from where you were. Oh, you were right there, but down. There you go.
So these are the ship to locations.
Right. This looks right.
Yeah, because what we did was I took the warehouse records and I copied them into the customer records because he already had them set up.
Right. So you got to go back. We need to edit those warehouse records as to what the actual warehouse address is.
I think you have an order in here, right? So if you look at the order, this is the warehouse, and this is where we're shipping it to and billing it to. These all look at the customer records. And this looks at the warehouse record.
Can we just go into whatever the Marriott Riverside is so it looks right, Ben? Can we edit that? Any idea what that address is supposed to be, Jason?
Yeah. Get the warehouse address.
Why don't you just say like Marriott Warehouse?
Well, there'd be a lot of them.
Yeah, the warehouse. Yeah, the warehouse has has a specific name like United Van Lines, Tucson or wherever. This one's in Riverside, so And I have clients that the reason I, we'd like to keep these separate is because I have clients that have multiple projects. So they may have, they may be working on the Marriott Riverside, they may be working on the Hyatt, Regency in Texas, and they may be working at, another one in San Diego. So for them, they're all different warehouses, and it's fine if they're the name is the project name, but the only time if I run into when I have two projects in the same warehouse, it doesn't matter either because I'll be naming them by the hotel, right?
Right. Where you could put a number after that, Marriott Riverside number. I don't know if you have project numbers or. Is there any chance you'd have multiple Marriott Riversides?
No. Riverside is, I wouldn't think so. Riverside is basically the location.
So what's the actual physical warehouse address for that?
It is 1625 Iowa Avenue. It's Riverside, California. Nine two 507.
Yeah. Okay.
Your takeoff is a ship to address, and you just only have a ship from address, right?
Well, you receive into it, right?
Right. Warehouses,
Yeah.
I would check them all out.
I don't think anybody from our system is going to be shipping. That's coming from the vendors. So if nothing coming through the system is going to be generating something to ship to the warehouse.
Right. The ship to part is all based on POs, Ben, probably?
I think so, most of it. Honestly, I don't know off the top of my head, it's one of those legacy checkboxes that's been here since day one. But, yeah, there's no harm in having them all checked off, not going to change processing at all.
Okay.
Or you can take it off, and I think it'll be fine. If I go to receive stock now, yeah, it's still there.
So here's a question why you brought that up. When my client or the warehouse log in, it doesn't seem to be like a home screen here. It seems to just bring you right to this page or something else. So is it? And it seems to always it's showing all, from what I see anyway, it shows all the potential projects and stuff in there. Is there a way for them to only see theirs?
Yeah, I think what we have to do is create a relationship between the projects. If we go into orders and look at the customers, like if we had for Marriott, we might have to change the quick order screen some to get this to work, but it used to work in the old version of the quick order screen, but I don't know if it was carried into the new one. But you can set a location of right here. So, if we had four Marriott projects and they all had the same location of, like the parent company or a parent customer record, then you could assign that to the user and we can modify the quick order screen. So when they come in, all they see is those locations that are related by that parent record. Understand what I'm saying? I don't know if it works. I don't know if it works that way today, though. That used to work that way, but the customers themselves if you go into system users, you know, we have a customer here.
So
You assign them to a
houses to them.
You've assigned them to a warehouse, but you can also assign them to a customer ID, and that's what filters the quick order screen. See, that would be filtered at that point.
So it's the same as. Can you go back for me to the user?
Yep.
So here, this is Angela. She's my client. Gives me a bunch of projects. I've got the warehouses here. You know, all 5 of those are hers. Well, I guess main warehouse. I don't know what main warehouse means. So when she logs in, I've given her a login. What does she see?
Well, she goes to the item master list. That's her default page. But if you wanted her to go to the quick order screen, we'd change it.
Okay, that would be good.
So, I mean, you know, shipping. So what's her password anyways?
Well, that's another question I have. So I've created passwords, but where is it as an administrator? Do I get to see what I created?
You don't.
No, you don't.
So there's no way to retrieve a password?
It's encrypted. No.
Uh,
How do you change one then? Just do it
just
again?
go right there. You just go right there in that field and you change it.
All right, so hold on. I made her password the same as before.
Why don't look? We'll set up a separate user to play around with. All right. So if I copy this over, and we'll just say BG Walker. Oh, I'm already in it. Okay, good. All right. So if I go here, I'm going to change my status as a customer. You had her in Riverside and all of these?
Yes.
Oh, got to make password change. Okay, customer ID. So for argument's sake, I'm just going to put myself in the Riverside.
I want to make it the quick order screen too, Benny.
Yeah, I didn't save that.
I think it just shows 4.
Oh, why did it do that? I wonder.
So am I going to be able to change the homepage?
Yeah.
Yep.
Based on what you're doing here, it would have the warehouses default to the receiving page and the customers default to the order page.
That's fine.
I think the mask, when it comes up and just shows you those 4 dots. You might have just screwed yourself on the password.
Well, we'll find out. Oh, I don't have permissions to the quick order screen. That's a good place to start. Okay, so login, group permissions, customer, shipping. Okay, quick order.
So we're on the first column, 5th
There it
one
is,
down.
yeah. Okay. Save. Log out. Okay, so that takes me right to the quick order screen. Okay, it filters the warehouses. We should take one warehouse out to make sure that it filters them out correctly. And right now she's locked in.
Yeah, I mean, it's taking you to the quick order screen, but it's taking you to the project.
Well, what did you have in mind?
Blank, so that they could choose the project. So they're not confused and thinking they're going, you know, they're already in the one they're supposed to be in, and they start ordering from the wrong one. I don't know.
Well, we could leave it as just select, right, Ben?
Yeah, but then you're going to see every project in the system. Is that what you want?
No.
No, that's why I'm asking. I want to be able only for them to see the ones that they have access to.
It's just not default to one.
Well, that's what I was saying. I think we have to change it. I think what we have to do is create a master client record and then make that the location of all the other ones that you assign that project to that one individual.
Say that again. I mean, you could just make a warehouse called blank and make that the default.
You're talking about creating orders, though, to ship to the hotels.
Right.
Right. So they need to be able to select the ship to locations.
Right. He just doesn't want it to default because this person has like 5 projects. So he wants them to be forced to pick the project.
I understand that, Ben, but you're not going to get 5 projects in here unless we create a relationship between the hotels that link them all together. You can't assign a customer ID to 5 different shipping locations, but you can relate the shipping locations together. That's what I was getting at when I was going here to the location of. I don't know if this works that way. It used to work that way in the old skin. But if you take a customer like Marriott, well, let's say Marriott Hagerstown, right here where it says location of, if you make it a location of Marriott Riverside, if you assign Marriott Riverside to that customer login, she should get those 2 locations, those projects. Okay. Hagerstown and Riverside. That's the way it used to work. Whether it does or not, I don't know, so let's try it. So if I log out again. I'm going to take the dog for a walk. Okay. Yeah. See, so now so we just have to create a master record that contains all the different projects and then relate them all together.
Can I ask the question? I thought the relationship part was when you go to the user, and I listed all those warehouses, then that's how they are linked to all the different projects.
No. Those are warehouses. Those are where the inventory is stored. The projects are where you're shipping them to.
Right, the hotels.
Each hotel is going to have a unique address, right? And you want to give Angela access to be able to order for 5 different hotels. What I'm saying is we create one hotel, one record that's kind of the master location, and then you point the other ones to it. So when she logs in here, you know, she'll see the 5 hotels that she can order from.
Well, then wouldn't it make sense, like I have it currently now in the system I use, to make that master the name of her company? She's the customer. So
yeah, it would. Yeah, it would. So if we go back, let's do it. So if we go into customers and contacts and create another one, what's the name of the company?
CCI Hospitality.
What is it?
CCI Hospitality.
I'm not going to put an address in right now, okay? So now if we go into we make location of CCI Hospitality.
Don't do Hagerstown.
Who else then?
You can do those other two, 4 Points and Hyatt Richardson.
Okay, so we did this one, and Riverside, right?
Yeah.
Okay, then we go to her, or my account, because we're testing with me here. And then just change this, not the warehouse, I'm sorry. Change this to be CCI Hospitality.
There's a bug.
Yeah, every time. Gotta change it.
We'll fix that, Jason.
Okay, and then, so if I log out, log back in, I should get those, hopefully. So I got all the records that she's assigned to.
What happens if you click on CCR and Hospitality?
Well, you could ship to it.
How are we changing the inventories? I guess the next question.
By receiving inventory into the system.
Right, but when you choose the warehouse, which one of these is pulling up the inventory, the warehouse or the ship to?
The warehouse. Ship to has nothing to do with the inventory.
Okay, so that goes back to the first part of the conversation, that defaulting to, not defaulting to a specific project or warehouse.
Right. It seems like when you pick the warehouse, it should default to the hotel, right? That warehouse, that virtual warehouse is only for one hotel, right?
I don't think so. I thought he said you could have different projects ordering from the same warehouse.
Again, though, every hotel has its own virtual warehouse. So you can have 4 projects in the same physical warehouse. You can have Marriott Riverside in there. You could have the Sheraton Riverside. You could have the Holiday Inn Riverside, all in the same physical warehouse. But, I mean, Jason, correct me if I'm wrong. Doesn't Marriott Riverside warehouse only ship to the Marriott Riverside project or to the Marriott Riverside hotel?
Well, in this case, yes, but to what you just previously said, I mean, right now the 4 Point Sheraton, that warehouse has 2 hotels in it, so it's 2 different projects. So yeah, I would name the other one something else, but it's physically in the same place.
That's exactly what I just tried to say. A physical warehouse can have multiple hotel projects in it.
Right.
But each hotel project only has one ship-to address.
Correct.
Are you getting that, Ben?
No, I'm not. No, I'm not getting it.
So a project is like Marriott Riverside, okay? It's in Los Angeles, and it's in some sort of warehouse in Los Angeles. But the project is called Marriott Riverside, and the stuff that comes in for that virtual warehouse only goes to one hotel or to one project.
Well, how do you market for that one hotel or one project? They don't use locations.
Because it's all under the, so it'd be easier maybe if that's why I go with the vernacular. A warehouse is a warehouse and the project is the hotel that we're working on. So in this case, we're working on the Marriott Riverside. We're renovating it, and we're storing the merchandise for the Riverside Marriott. It's in the warehouse that's called Burgess Moving and Storage, or but we can call it Riverside Marriott if you want the warehouse. But the project that we know that this freight belongs to is the Riverside Marriott. That warehouse could also have the Sheraton Riverside inventory in it.
Right.
So how do you segregate the inventory in that virtual warehouse by project?
By the name.
By project.
The name, the warehouse name.
One's called Marriott Riverside, one's called Sheraton Riverside, and everybody knows to keep that. That's why the inventory will be completely separate, and that's why when I want to select, even if it's not the same physical warehouse, CCI Hospitality has 4 projects that I'm controlling all over the country, not necessarily all in California. One's in Texas, she needs to drop down and choose, Hyatt Regency in Texas and bring up that inventory so she can order from it.
I think we just got to get Ben on the same page with us.
I mean, how is this? Okay, there's no inventory of 4 Point Sheraton.
It's because we haven't uploaded it yet.
Right. Okay.
But if I did, my point is that when I select 4 Point Sheraton, it brings up a completely different inventory than the one that's for Riverside Marriott, and that's...
Well, it will.
Okay.
Right.
But
I mean...
It's defaulting, though, to Riverside Marriott right now.
Well, that's because we defaulted it. If we go... Let me log out. Because we defaulted it right here. So the pain. So now it says all warehouses, and then she can choose, which one she wants to work in.
Yeah, but what should happen, Ben, is when she chooses that 4 Point Sheraton, it should automatically populate that ship to if we can.
Yes.
With a matching 4 Point Sheraton project. The customer is 1-for-1 with the warehouse.
Well, we don't do that currently. We'd have to add.
But that's the way it works.
That's fine, but I'm just saying it doesn't do it currently.
I'm just saying that's the way it works.
So what you'd have to do is you'd have to add a customer record to the, can't do anything when I'm logged in under that customer. It's a pain in the ass. Inventory, warehouses. We'd have to assign the customer record to the warehouse.
That's basically what Jason wants.
Okay.
I mean, if you go, it's not.
No. That's what you want, Jason. Just stick with it.
Okay. As you're saying, it's not incredibly difficult to choose it if it's available. I know I have to pick the Marriott Riverside.
But you don't want to make mistakes. It should just fill in.
No.
It should be one less step.
I
no
agree.
no mistakes. Because if they screw it up, then the system's all fucked up.
Yeah, I mean, there's no question that my goal here in all this is to allow for as few human errors as possible.
Right. But Ben, do you see what we're getting at?
Yeah, I just said.
Yeah. Okay. I just trying to make sure that we're all on the same page.
Yeah, I got to add a field to the warehouse record so we can assign a customer record to it, and then filter the quick order screen so when they choose that warehouse, it automatically populates the select box with the right one.
Right. And the user ID gets associated to whatever the projects are, which are those virtual warehouses. you know, Angela or whatever her name is might have 5 projects spread out all over the country, and 3 of them might be in that same Los Angeles warehouse.
It is rare, though. I mean, it's happening, but it is rare. And even
Yeah, but
and the
still.
fact that it's happening, it's 2 different clients, actually.
Well, okay, now you lost me again. If we got 3 projects in that one warehouse, I mean, there are actually 3 different warehouses because you only have the customer record associated with one of them.
But the only difference, Ben, is if they all have the same physical address, they're just virtual.
Yeah,
I mean, the difference between virtual and physical is just, it's almost non-existent.
Well, I understand that. All I'm saying is, you know, I'm getting hung up maybe on the terminology, but, you know, it's a one-to-one relationship between the project and the warehouse.
Right. Yep, which is perfect. That's exactly right. But the user could have multiple projects, which are multiple warehouses.
Right.
And that'll work.
So when they choose the one warehouse, then that's automatically going to create or automatically go to the ship to for that warehouse.
Right. Exactly.
Right. Because we're using the project name as the warehouse, so that simplifies it. Otherwise, you know, if I use the warehouse name, then they would have to go and alternately select the project within that warehouse. So this does make it one step easier.
Just want to make sure Ben's on the same page with us.
I believe I am. Let me change it, and we'll find out whether I am or not. Yeah. But I think I got.
That's why I want to do a run through to see what it is, you know, how they're going to interact with it and the flow.
I just want to be clear. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a placeholder for the customer records or the project, and there's going to be a one-to-one relationship between the virtual warehouse and the project that we're shipping to. And when they log in and they go to that quick order screen, if they choose that virtual warehouse, the ship to address is going to change on the fly.
Right. Perfect.
Okay. And it'll populate that warehouse's or that project's inventory.
Yeah, it does that today. It's just a relationship between the customers that need to change. When you choose quick order and you choose that virtual warehouse, that's why all of this inventory is what's allowed in that warehouse. That's why you don't see anything else.
Are we able to change the default here for the screen back to available?
Yeah, change it right here.
Can we make that the default, Ben?
Yeah, I think so. Although I asked Zach to change that so you could lock it in. I don't think you can lock it in now. It does. This quick order screen, he worked on it for quite a while. It's still got a little quirk in it, but he said he was going to make it because I asked him that, you know, to make it so you could lock it so the user couldn't change it. Right now, I think it's still, you can change it, but.
Is there an option there to make the default?
Yeah, right on shipping orders. Where is it? Back orders, quick order default view.
Okay, good.
And do I have to set? I don't have to set that per user, right? I just set that per.
No, that's a global thing.
System one.
But yeah, I think if
how do we get rid of cost?
It's always going to be 0, isn't it? You're not showing cost. You don't. Do you keep track of cost?
No, that's why I don't need it the column.
It should always be zeros. Is that easy?
I'm not sure how one got to 4.
I have to take it out of the database. Yeah.
What does category signify?
Well, you could make it like lamp,
Furniture,
bathroom. You can make it whatever you want.
I guess you
Just
have it equal the description? Or
yeah,
not?
sure. You could make it the. Could you, Ben? Or maybe we just.
Well, category isn't description. No, you'd have to add description into here. Drop category and add description. See, that's weird because it's here. But again, this is a different grid view.
I would like it when you pick it for it to populate the description as well as the item ID. Make sure they get the right one.
Well, we have to change it then. I mean, basically drop category and add description to it.
And,
Right.
and for space necessities, you know, you don't need, obviously you can tell all my item ID is mostly pretty small and the descriptions are larger, so you can swap the space if you want.
Category. Okay.
And I'm still looking for that deliver by to be deliver on. You know, it's a small little thing, but my warehouse will use it to their advantage.
Okay. Anything else on this guy?
Well, let me ask
I
you,
mean,
Jason.
yeah, go ahead.
Does the customer need to do anything but this quick order screen? Is that all they're doing?
Other than, you know, if they want to start looking up reports and see what, you know, what history of item, that type of stuff, you know, when it went out, when it came in.
Okay. So there shouldn't be any inventory or any other order functionality. Just quick
I mean,
orders.
they want to check their inventory, but I don't allow them to alter the inventory because that's the warehouse's responsibility.
Well, they can check their inventory basically on this screen right here. I mean, it's showing what's available by item ID.
Right. But is there a place just to pull up and print out the inventory?
Oh yeah, there's tons of reports.
Yeah, I mean, we can give them the inventory count report.
That's why that's interesting. Why is it only those 7 items or whatever it is?
The only thing we have in stock, isn't it?
Oh, okay. Is there a way to pull up an item master list, even if there's no inventory to it?
So you want to see zero values is what you're saying?
Yeah.
I think we might have a report that does that.
The master list?
Well, you can always do the item master list.
Yeah, that's fine. So let me ask you a question. And it's probably really easy, but I don't remember. A lot of times what happens is they give me a master list, and then they start getting stuff that needs to either be added to the list because it wasn't originally on the first purchase order, or we want to break out an item and realize there's multiple components and we want to make sure we separate them. How do I do that? Just add an item to this list.
Create an item. Oh, I'm in the report. Hang on. Item master list. Let's create a new item right here.
But you went there really quickly. How did you get there? You went to what? Inventory?
Well, if you go in the item master list, you have a button Right here, create new item.
And that,
It will just be for that warehouse. We can
right,
turn the
so
option
how
on.
did you get to,
Hmm?
to see that warehouse? Because I'll be a,
Oh,
an
back
admin,
in the
so how do
item
you get-
master list at the top that you pick the warehouse.
okay.
You have your warehouse here and you have it down here. Shows you who you're logged in as and what warehouse you're working in.
Yeah, you'll have to be careful because you'll have access to all of the projects and all of the all of the virtual warehouses.
How do I prevent, either prevent or allow clients to edit this?
Well, that's up to you.
Well, but
You know,
is there a way for me to like, where do I give them these permissions?
Right here, system permissions, group permissions. It's
So
all
you gotta
broken out by
yeah,
groups.
you got to be careful because if everybody's lumped into customers and you give it, you can't give it to just one customer. You'd be giving it to all customers.
Okay.
Unless you made a special group, unless you made a special group that was like customers dash edits or something like that. And you put the few people that you wanted to be able to have the ability to change that item master into a special group. Otherwise, when you change that group, everybody that's in the group gets it.
Right.
I kind of got the sense from your description that you had a few users out there that are like special. Have the ability to not screw it up.
Yeah, I mean, obviously everybody has, more, especially my CCI Hospitality Angela, like she's my biggest client, and she has, an admin, Robert, who does a lot of the work. So I may give him the ability to go in and add items. All that does is save me work.
Yeah, I would just make a special group for special people like that. Because you don't want to lump them in with customers and then go giving customers more permissions because you're giving it to everybody. So just make, like a special customer group or something. And then we'll clone the customer group and we'll add the few other things that you want them to be able to do. You can have as many groups as you want. You can, virtually have one to every customer that you have or every user that you have. It just becomes a pain in the ass to manage it. So the fewer groups you can keep yourself to, the easier it'll be to manage.
In other words, for permissions.
Right. Right. If you made a group for each user, then if 10 of them had this, you wanted to give 10 of them that special feature, you'd have to go in and edit 10 groups.
Okay.
That's the whole point of groups is, you get buying power basically. You can modify multiple users with one change.
Typically, what I have is 3 groups. I have, the admin, which is, me and Harvey probably. Then I have warehouses, and then I have customers or clients.
Right. But it sounds like you have 2 clients. You have smart clients and you have, the regular dumb ones, or the ones you want to protect from themselves.
Right.
That's no big deal. We just make 2 groups for customers.
Okay.
Those groups are really easy to make. Ben can just go up right now. It's just there's another feature there called groups, and you just make a new group.
Right there, you just add them in. Call them super user. I don't know.
So supplier right now would be vendor?
Right.
Yep.
That's the intent.
These are the defaults. Your warehouse people, you could put in employee. Your end users or customers, suppliers.
We could rename employee to be warehouse. Ben just clicks on the pencil and it'll rename it.
Yeah, yeah, that'd be good. Warehouse admin, I guess, service warehouse.
So you need to add another one, Ben, like special customer, or I don't know.
Super
Advanced
user.
customer. Yeah, super user. Yeah, there you go. I don't know what screen set you want to give them.
I'll give them the admin one.
You want to show me real quick how you uploaded an inventory to a specific project?
The utility screen right here. So if we'll just export the one out of Riverside. Okay, so that's all the parts that we uploaded initially in the Riverside. So if you wanted to upload it to a different project, you just change the name here for that warehouse.
Well, they'd be completely different items too, though.
Right.
Yeah, right. But just for demonstration point, I mean, if Benson made it, whatever one of those other ones was, Sheridan 4 points or something.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what you want me to do?
Yeah, sure. It's a demo system.
4-point Sheridan. Oh, shoot. Actually, what I'll do is I'll just change the item ID and start it with an S. Oop. Hang on, it's giving me a hard time. Come on. What the heck? What the heck is going on with
You're
my
trying to
phone?
make me sick. You're almost
I'm not trying to make me sick. I'm trying to paste the value in there. That's better. Delete it. And then change this to S. I'm just going to change a couple of them just to show. You better check the system option and make sure you.
Because I got somebody call me for the second time. I'm just going to put you on hold and accept, okay? A second.
Come on. Oh, I'm already in this database.
What are you trying to do?
Delete them.
I'm back.
File. Save those. Sheridan.
So we just left 2 parts in there, Jason.
So, system admin options. Okay, so it'll only go to the Sheridan. This controls whether or not your parts are available across all virtual warehouses. So if I go back into that guy,
How do I know this is for that project though?
Say that again, Jason.
How do I know that I'm importing it to that project?
By the warehouse. The warehouse.
Yeah, you put the name in the first column.
The warehouse and the project are the same.
Right, but when you went to the import screen, can you just show me where you choose the warehouse?
Yeah, it's in the sheet.
It's in the spreadsheet. Go back to the spreadsheet, Bill.
You don't have to.
Right there. Oop, yeah.
It's the first column in the spreadsheet.
That's going to dictate everything on the back end. You don't have to choose a warehouse and then be in that warehouse and then upload its inventory.
Right. It's all done here in this sheet. This is loading that virtual warehouse. Whatever's in that first column.
Gotcha. Okay.
So it's real simple. So you should be able to.
If I wanted to take, like, say, an updated list, they sent me a new list. Instead of trying to figure out which ones are changed, I just re-upload the list. Does it replace the old ones, or does it duplicate it?
The item ID is the same, it'll replace it.
Okay.
Yeah, so it won't duplicate a duplicate. It replaces it.
You can't have a duplicate part number in the system.
Does that make sense, Jason?
What, that if it, just replace the old ones and the new ones will be added, right?
Right, exactly. The one thing it doesn't do, correct me if I'm wrong, Ben, it doesn't do inventory adjustments.
No, it only adds stock. But they don't want to use this for adding stock because I had to modify the receiving grid. So when we create, I create receiving references, and that's what I'm creating as locations in the warehouse so he can pick my receiving references.
Right.
So this wouldn't do it, not without alteration. So you don't want to use this for uploading stock. Right. You just want to use the receiving worksheet because it's, if you look at it, it's altogether different. Vendor and carriers are just text fields. He doesn't want to use the lookup list. We got a place for shipping weight and PO number, and then all of this stuff is imported at the same time.
So, Jason, I remember this email and I didn't say anything, but now I can't bite my tongue any longer. You sure you want vendor and carrier to be just free-form text?
100%.
It's just going to make a mess.
Why?
Somebody will spell vendor with a space. Somebody will put it without a space. Somebody will put a dash. Somebody will.
Not putting it in the table. It's just going into the serial to field in the database. I think that's where I'm putting it. One of them. No, I created vendor fields for it. So it's like the remark column now, Benny.
Yeah, but still, if you tried to report on what you got from vendor XYZ.
Yeah, you're not going to be able to.
You'll never, ever, ever be able to count on that report. Because
the alternative, I understand what you're saying, which is something I don't even do now, which is sort by vendor, although it would be great to do that. But the alternative is that I have no idea who the vendors are, so it's not even physically possible for me to do that. I may know who the vendors are in some cases. Like when they give me their expedited report, they tell me who the vendors are. But a lot of times, even who the vendor is, it's marked differently on the bill of lading because they're shipping it through another warehouse that, like Frontgate may ship as Frontgate. Sometimes it may ship as West Elm. And
yeah, okay. Just keep in mind that almost keeping track of it is useless. Other than I guess you'll see it on the receiving record. It's just a remark. It's virtually useless in terms of reporting or sorting or.
Well, let me ask you this. So knowing what I'm telling you, how would you, like my warehouse? I don't know who the vendors are.
Yeah, I don't think I have a good answer for that.
So thinking about it, what if we did both? And then I was able to go back and enter, every time I see a vendor on one of these sheets, I can go enter it into the item master list and then select it. If I can alter, I guess I can't alter the receiving the once they've received it, so it doesn't really matter. I just, what I needed to do is, all I needed to do was for it to print out on the pick ticket as it was entered on the receiving ticket, because that's how that helps them find it.
So, but I mean, we don't have anything here that would prevent them from leaving it blank. We didn't make that like a required field, did we, Ben?
No.
Yeah, so I mean, there's a chance people will leave it blank.
Yeah, it hasn't really happened. I just, if they type in vendor here, it's not going to really help me much if it doesn't print out on the pick ticket.
It's printing out on the pick ticket. I'm storing it in the inventory record.
Okay.
I'm storing all of these fields. I modified the database to store all of these character fields in the inventory record so that they're available.
I mean, the problem also is, I'm dealing with so many different warehouses. It's not like a traditional, like if I was 3PL and the system was the same for every job I did. I had this, I'm the warehouse. Every warehouse has their own kind of little own nuances. So some of them, for whatever reason, the vendor helps them find the freight, which sort of makes sense, because they helps them identify it, because they don't have all these sophisticated put-away systems where they're going to be able to use your system that probably could help them, go to, row F, pallet location C. They don't do that. They may do that internally, but, I can't have my system set up for 20 different warehouses.
Yeah, that's fine. I just wanted to make sure you understood that those fields were, in terms of the database, they're virtually useless. But they might be somewhat informational for you sometimes. That's fine. I get it.
What does autofill mean?
Just fills it'll populate like the receiving record down the columns.
Sure. Okay, so this is the screen. So again, here it defaults to what? This is the warehouse goes. I want the warehouse to default to this screen when they log in.
Okay.
Yeah, we can do that. You just
put
it on each user record.
Yeah.
The screen is.
Just again, you go here and system users, and Rebecca Taylor works in the warehouse.
Freddie Sanchez is in the Riverside Marriott warehouse.
So when he logs in, he'll go to the receiving screen.
So I'm just curious. I have on Freddie. Why do I have all these warehouses showing up under Freddie?
It's just all the virtual warehouses. It's just a list of all the warehouses. So there's something to pick from. It's like you got to show them all so you can pick one.
Oh, I see. So that's
not selected. These are extra warehouses. It's like what we did with Angela, where we picked 3 other warehouses for her. It says not selected, so he's just in the Marriott Riverside.
Gotcha. Right.
But you'd have to, if Marriott Riverside's physical warehouse had 2 or 3 other projects in them, down there in that extra warehouses, you what is it?
Selected.
Yeah, you just select those other ones that apply to that user.
Okay.
And then when they come into the system, it's going to default to the Marriott Riverside, but they can pick the other 2 or whatever.
Right. Okay.
And if you wanted,
far-
I mean, if you wanted, you could have that where the warehouse field is, you can pick not selected, and then it forces them to pick which warehouse that they're going to work in for the transaction.
All right, but so at the moment, I don't have everybody's 1-for-1, so it's easy enough. The one warehouse where I have 2 projects, one of them's my father's, and he's not using the system yet. So,
Okay.
But I'd love to at some point. But that's they're already horses out of the barn there. So they default to this screen, and can we just go through a receipt again?
What do you want me to receive into?
I guess Riverside. That doesn't. The only one that has items.
No, we put 2 in we put 2 in floor plan.
The 3 dots. Just go back to that. I want to see. I sent you a screenshot where there was a negative. So there's no.
That's because we have an order in there within. I told you we put an order in there, and after we put the order in, I deleted the inventory.
Okay.
I mean, that's the only reason that negative.
I just want to make sure that they can't order more than it's available. If they try, it shouldn't let them.
That's a different screen, Jason. This is the receiving grid.
Right. I know. You're right. Am I just going to my thought process? My brain went there.
This is where you put your weight.
Right.
Well, PO number, vendor, carrier, shipping weight.
Where do they enter the date? It was
Right here.
so. That's the date that today, right?
That's the date. No, it's the receiving date. It defaults to today, but you can change it. So if this was actually received last month, you just go back to last month.
Is it possible for you to change that to say date received?
Yep.
Because
Oh man, receiving date and date received. Now we're getting subtle.
But you understand the subtlety there, right? You understand the reason for that subtlety. Receiving date means the day you're entering it versus the date it was actually received in the warehouse.
If you say so. It means the same thing to me.
Okay.
Again, when you're talking about super users versus not super users, the warehouse side is usually the not super user.
Okay. All right.
Okay, so I'm just going to save this. Now you can print your worksheet. See, actual receive date right there, 24. I backdated it.
Great. So now show me where I go and pull up these reports.
Can't pull that one up because I never received it in. So this is history reports. So let me go back and receive it in.
And these lists will be a lot shorter. They'll only see the reports that they can have authority to get to. Be less confusing.
Okay, and then if I wanted to S5, search the history of S5, how do I do that?
Audit trail probably, right?
Audit trail. Look at today's activity. Oh, that's nice. Doesn't work, huh? Inventory, audit trail.
Right, but that's, let's assume I received 50 receipts, and I just want to look up the item. How do I search by item?
Just put a filter on it. If you only want to see the S5 item, you put a filter and say item ID equals S5.
These are all sorted. You can sort by these, or you can filter by them.
If I just typed in the search there, S-5, would it bring up what would it bring up?
S-5. But we only have one item, so it's, I mean.
Change to the Marriott warehouse, maybe. Yeah, there's no S5 in it. You have to change the filter.
So if we want.
What is that showing me?
All the activity for SF6 or BF6, whatever that is. There's just not a lot of activity yet.
So it was received on. So if for some reason we got further along and I shipped, 5 of these out, that would show up on the screen also?
Yeah, any locate and move or receive or issue will show up here.
And you just went to inventory, or you went to reports, and then you took down inventory?
Yep, and then audit trail.
And then if I wanted to say show me all receivings for a date, or all receivings for an item.
You go in here and add filters for it. So you can filter by any of those fields.
Do you have any quick reports set up already? And if I do create a report, can I save it?
You can save them, yeah. You can save your filters on them.
But you can also copy the reports and make new reports.
Hopefully you'll be able to, help me through that process when the time comes, because
yeah, that's not a problem.
Those are things that, and if we do one of these videos, then I won't have to bug you in the future, but
you'll get it. You'll get it. Trust me. Once you start using it, it's not that bad.
All right. So we have a few things to change, and then I would love to get it, up and running. Then can we do quick videos for receiving process and ordering process, so that I can just send them to my people?
Process, sure.
Yeah, and then
seems like order, receive, and issue.
And then maybe one for like how to search a report or something like that. That if they want to look up their history.
Sure.
All right.
I think I can do them now that we're all on the same page. We were kind of disconnected there, or at least Ben and I were.
I mean, for me, it feels like there's, it's not that difficult a process. We receive in freight and we ship it out, but there's just a couple of relationships that makes, I guess, for you guys to follow between warehouse and project. I'd like to look at it as if you were in a 3PL and you had multiple, you know, if I was storing freight for, you know, the Gap and I was storing freight for Target, that's the same thing as a different hotel.
Right. Right. Yeah, you got it.
Okay. I'm looking forward to getting started.
Yeah, I don't know when Ben will get that customer relationship thing done, but you know, when he does, we can start, I think, doing the
I
training.
don't know. I got to change receiving date to date received. That might take me a while.
There's another one of those too. You got to change.
Yeah.
Deliver on, deliver by to
deliver by to deliver on.
Got to change the word by to on.
Yeah. Well,
Gotcha.
you know, if I got a warehouse that says you said I can deliver by then, and they show up the day before.
True. It's all in the details.
Yep.
All right, guys, we
Okay.
good?
Yes.
Okay, I'll let you know when I got them done.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Yeah,
Okay.
I'll upload this for you, Jason.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, see you.
Bye.